This is the data we collected from our experiment. In Rachel's data, we can see her heart rate starts quite high at the beginning of exercise, but then drops from around 160 to 100. Her heart rate increases from 100 in the 4th minute to around 180. Her heart rate increases to around 190 in the next 4-minute gap. This is an increase of only 10 beats within these 4 minutes. At the 12-minute mark, we see a decrease in heart rate, even though she is still exercising. The heart rate drops from 190 at the 12th minute to 170 at the 16th minute. However, once we hit the 16th minute mark, Rachel's heart rate begins to increase again. Therefore, at the 18th minute, we can see her heart rate has risen to 180. It then plateaus at this point until the 20th minute. There is no data in Rachel's we can disregard. However, a decrease in heart rate during exercise would not be expected. Perhaps Rachel started working anaerobically, but she had to slow down her work rate, therefore to start working aerobically again. In Billy's data, we can see that from the 1st minute to the 4th minute there is an increase from 90 to 100. He then has a steeper increase from the 4th minute to the 6th minute from 100 to 150. At the 6th minute, Billy's heart rate drops from 160 to 55. In the 7th minute, this would not be expected. At the 7th minute, the heart rate then begins to increase. In the 8th minute, the heart rate stands at 160. Billy's heart rate starts to fluctuate, and this continues from the 8th minute to the 19th minute, with the highest point being 10 in the 11th minute and the lowest point being 100 in the 17th minute. However, from the 1st minute to the 20th minute, there is a decrease in heart rate, perhaps implying that Billy stopped working at the same intensity before exercise was finished. Billy's data is peculiar, with many results not seeming to follow the trends of normative data. Therefore, we would probably redo this test on Billy to check that the recordings came out similar. Luke's data shows a slight decrease from 120 at minute 1 to 115 at minute 3. Luke's heart rate can be seen to increase after minute 3. It continues to increase until minute 13, where the heart rate is just above 160. It fluctuates slightly until the 17th minute, and then it plateaus at a value of 165 till the 20th minute. We expected Luke's heart rate to plateau. Instead, it continued to increase and then only started to plateau at the 17th minute. However, the decrease in heart rate at the start of exercise is not expected. Here's the cardiovascular analysis. To measure the heart rate, we used the heart rate monitor, mainly. However, Rachel's results were questionable, as they were implying she was working well above her aerobic zone. Yet her other data, such as RPE and breathing rate, suggested otherwise. Therefore, to check her results, we also used the O2 saturation monitor and her Fitbit, which both measured heart rate. We monitored and recorded the heart rates across the 20 minutes. According to normative data, the heart rate should increase at the start of exercise, then it should begin to plateau after a certain heart rate is achieved, and then heart rate should gradually drop off post-exercise. Between 1 to 3 minutes, there was an average of decrease of 8 beats per minute due to Rachel's decrease of 58 beats per minute from the 2nd to the 4th minute. This reading may have been incorrect at this point because Rachel could have been working in the wrong target zone, therefore affecting the overall average and turning it into a decrease, which goes against our hypothesis that heart rate should increase at the start of exercise. During the middle stage, between the 2nd and 20th minute, there was an average increase of about 45 beats per minute. This shows that there wasn't a plateau, meaning that we hadn't reached a target zone. We were over it, as Rachel's heart rate was at 190 at 3 minutes and 20 minutes. This does not make sense, as Rachel's results were implying she was working aerobically. However, other data implied that she was working aerobically for her breathing rate and RPE. This is possibly implying that we had faulty equipment. However, we did check Rachel's on multiple devices, therefore her results are an anomaly. Billy's results also changed the average, as his heart rate did not plateau at all, meaning that he would have changed the average. Another factor to note about Billy's is that at the 7th minute our data showed that he had a heart rate of 60. This is inaccurate, as this would not be appropriate heart rate for someone who is working aerobically. This is simply not a high enough heart rate, as the body would not be able to get the oxygen needed for exercise at this heart rate. When the body starts to exercise, the receptors detect the change. The three receptors that come into play are the proprioceptors, chemoreceptors, and baroreceptors. Right as exercise starts, the proprioceptors send an impulse to the CCC in the medulla oblongata. Chemoreceptors detect changing chemicals, e.g. the lack of oxygen, build-up of CO2 and lactic acid. This also sends a message to the CCC in the medulla oblongata. This is how we can assume that there was not enough oxygen being delivered to any of the athletes in the first section, as the heart rate increases, meaning once the chemoreceptors detected the lack of oxygen, a message is sent to the CCC and then down the parasympathetic nervous system, increasing heart rate. breathing rate. At the start of exercise, Rachel's data shows her breathing rate increases from 14 in the first minute to 16 in the third minute. And her breathing rate decreases in the third minute from 16 down to 15 in the fifth minute. For the next 6 minutes, her breathing rate increases, but not at a steady rate. At 11 minutes, her breathing rate is 18, and there is a dip in Rachel's breathing rate from 18 to 17 in the 13th minute. Finally, her breathing rate increases to 17 in the 19th minute. We can't disregard any of Rachel's data, however, you would expect to see an increase in breathing rate at the start of exercising, and her breathing rate should have plateaued. However, hers seems to fluctuate. Luke's breathing rate wasn't recorded right at the start of exercise, therefore the first value we have for him was at 5 minutes, where his breathing rate is 23. His breathing rate increases to 25 in the 10th minute. In the 15 minutes, his breathing rate is recorded at 27, so we can see that his breathing rate will continue to increase. Then from the 15 minutes to the 18th minute, Luke's breathing rate plateaus. We don't have to disregard this data, however it would be an idea to redo the test and take the values at the start, because we don't know whether Luke has had an increase in the first 5 minutes like we predicted. At the start of exercise, Billy's breathing rate increases only slightly from the second minute to the fourth minute, going from 43 to about 46. The results simply do not make very much sense, as his breathing rate at resting should have been around 12. However, I digress. His breathing rate increases till the 12th minute, reaching to approximately 63 breaths a minute. This is over a breath a second. In the 12th minute, the 14th minute, his breathing rate plateaus at this level, and from the 14th minute to the 20th minute, his breathing rate decreases from 63 to 48. I think we can disregard some of Billy's data, as it simply does not make sense that he would be doing more than 1 breath a second. We would have to redo the test and get some more accurate readings. Here is the respiratory analysis. We predicted that breathing rate would increase, then plateau after there is enough supply of oxygen to the working muscles. We monitored the breathing rate throughout the 20 minutes by observing the chest moving. Normal breathing resting rate is 12. However, at 5 minutes in our data, the breathing rate increased to 28 breaths. This indicated that the initial stage of our hypothesis of breathing rate was correct, and that all 3 clients experienced an increase in breathing rate. However, this would have happened because of the high demand for oxygen. This would have been detected by the chemoreceptors that detected the decreased level of oxygen in the blood, therefore sending a message to the RPC. Then the message would go down to the intercostal nerve, which would then cause respiratory muscles to start contracting, causing more oxygen to be taken into the lungs. From 5 to 10 minutes, there is an increase of 6 breaths. Here we would have theoretically expected to see the plateau start to occur. This did not happen for any of the clients, therefore implies that something was wrong in recording the data, or that the aerobic target zone had not been reached. This would have meant that the body was not receiving enough oxygen for the breathing rate to plateau. From the 10th to 18th minute, there is an average decrease in breaths of 3, from 34 breaths down to 31. The decrease is very slight, therefore implying that this stage is where our plateau should have occurred. This would correlate with our hypothesis. However, the decrease, which is caused by Billy's result, could have implied that Billy stopped working as hard, causing his breathing rate to decrease. This has happened because not as much oxygen would be needed if the body was not working as hard. I believe that Billy's results influenced the average, as his results were not what we predicted in our hypothesis, as his recordings were not anything like what they would have anticipated. At one section, Billy's breathing rate was recorded at 63, which is over a breath a second. This does not seem right, so if we were to do the experiment again, we would re-record Billy's breathing rate. A reason Billy's breathing rate could be wrong is human error, as the recording method is just a person counting the movement. RPE. We can see Luke's RPE starts at 11, showing that he felt like he was working quite hard at the start of exercise. This could be because his warm-up may not have been efficient, therefore when exercise started, Luke's body was not prepared. Maybe his warm-up was also too intense and tired him out before exercise began, therefore he felt like he was working extremely hard. All the athletes raised their level of RPE, with Rachel increasing to the 6th minute, Billy increasing to the 10th minute, as well as Luke increasing to the 6th also. The 2 boys then had a plateau where their RPE, when they found that exercise they were doing was not increasing in intensity. Therefore implying maybe their bodies were beginning to adjust to the demands of exercise, which would back up our hypothesis of breathing rate and heart rate, as maybe the reason they are not finding it more difficult is because their bodies have adjusted to the demands. Rachel's, on the other hand, continued to increase to level 13. However, Rachel's level started off at much lower than the boys, so potentially she was not working in the right training zone at the start, and that's why she did not experience the same plateau as the boys. O2 saturation. Luke's O2 saturation increases from the 4th minute to the 8th minute. There is an increase of 8%. The increase then slows as there is an increase from the 8th minute to 12th minute of 1%. followed by a decrease from the 12th minute to the 16th minute of 1%. The fact that there was so little change in this section shows that where Luke's O2 saturation shows that this section is where Luke's O2 saturation is attempting to plateau. Then there is a plateau till the end of exercise once the body is adjusted to the new demands of exercise. Billy's O2 saturation increases between the 2nd to the 3rd minute from 64% to 97%. It then fluctuates, staying within the range of 90 to 99 for the next 7 minutes until the 10th minute. At the 10th minute, Billy's O2 saturation levels off and plateaus at the value of 98%. This could be because the body is receiving enough oxygen it needs, therefore O2 saturation stays the same. Rachel's O2 saturation increases from the 4th minute to the 8th minute from 63% to 97%. This could be because the amount of oxygen that we increase at the start of oxygen due to the demands the working muscles have for it. The lack of oxygen would have been detected by the chemoreceptors that detect the decreased level in the blood, therefore sending a message to the RCC. Then a message would go down the intercostal nerve, which would then cause the respiratory muscles to start contracting, causing more oxygen to be taken into the lungs. Finally, we have the lactate levels. Luke's lactate levels start at 10 in the 1st minute, then drop to 5 in the 5th minute. However, we can see Luke has a large build-up of lactate, reaching levels of 21 in the 15th minute. This would imply that Luke has not started using his aerobic glycolysis system. However, the opposite happens for Rachel and Billy as their lactate levels decrease. This could be because they had reached the aerobic glycolysis system that we predicted in our hypothesis. However, Rachel's increase in lactate near the end of exercise is a bit of an anomaly, and that should not have increased here, as she should have been using her aerobic glycolysis system at this time, because her other energy systems will not have provided enough energy for this amount of time of exercise. Finally, we have the energy systems analysis. We predicted in our hypothesis that the main energy system that would be used would be the aerobic glycolysis, as the exercise is submaximal and lasts for a period of 20 minutes. Therefore, the other energy systems cannot supply the amount of energy that is needed to last for 20 minutes. We can test to see the system is being used by checking the O2 saturation levels. As the higher they are, the more likely it would to apply to us that the athlete is using the aerobic glycolysis system. And the blood lactate levels, the higher these levels, the likelier it is that we are using the aerobic glycolysis system. This is because lactic acid is a byproduct of the anaerobic glycolysis system. From the 4th minute to the 6th minute, there is an increase in O2 saturation, meaning oxygen is getting to more parts of the body, showing that more blood is being pumped around the body faster. This message will be detected by receptors and sent to the CCC and RCC, leading to more oxygen being delivered. From the 10th minute to the 20th minute, there was an average increase in 5%, meaning that although there was an increase, it was only slight, therefore implying that the athletes in the experiment were using aerobic glycolysis system as we predicted. The lactate levels in our experiment data showed that from the start of exercise to the 10th minute mark, there was an average increase of 14 blood lactate levels. At rest, the normal levels are recorded at 0.5 to 1.5. This clearly shows that lactic acid was being produced during exercise. However, we can state that Billy's result influenced the overall average, as his 10th minute result was considerably higher than the other two athletes. His was 22, Rachel's and Luke's were 8 and 12. This definitely could suggest that Billy was working in his anaerobic zone and using the anaerobic glycolysis system. In the final period of exercise, from the 10th minute to the 20th minute, there was an average increase of 1, showing that the blood lactate levels were plateauing, implying that they were working in the aerobic zone, and that no more lactic acid was being produced. Therefore, the performers would not have felt the exercise was getting harder, which we can back up as 2 of the athletes experienced a plateau on the RPE scale.